Hello everyone. Time to make another video, I guess. And I was thinking about what I could do, and I was thinking about how I got started. Back in the, I think it was like mid to late '90s. My dad had a carving book, and he was kind of into carving. And he gave me a knife, and I got hooked on it. And I believe the first project I ever did, the first carving thing I ever did, was this little miniature decoy duck. And that came out of the carving book he had, and he had lost that over the years, but after talking to him about it and trying to remember what it was, I think we finally found the right book. It's this one, How to Carve Wood. And I don't know if I know how to pronounce that guy's last name, if it's Buttes. Anyway, this is the first carving book I ever looked at, and that's where that project comes out of. Just a miniature decoy duck is what he called it, or duck decoy. So that's what we're going to go ahead and try to make today. In his book, he's got a basic pattern. It's scaled down here. And he talks about how he went about making it. One of the things that I think is kind of nice about this project is that it teaches you a lot about the wood grain and which direction to carve. I thought it would be kind of nice to just kind of go back and revisit the first thing I ever carved. And let's see what we can do. I made this one the other day. Turned out okay. He's got a little work left to do on it. I did sand that one. I have some butternut, and I thought that'd be kind of nice to try that. So just using his pattern, and went by the scale that he had there, and we made a little bit bigger pattern. And cut it out on the bandsaw. And a tip I found, I was watching a video, I think it was Lynn Doty, talked about doing this. Some people will cut one direction and put the pieces back on and tape them and cut the other direction. What he does is he just leaves a little bit, see it right here, just leave a tiny little bit in each direction when you're cutting it, and then you can cut the other direction, and then these pieces will just pop off. Leaves a little ridge there, but that's easy enough to clean up. Get this other side. Oh, it kind of broke. There we go. That's what we start out with. The grain's really obvious in this one, but one of the first things we have to do is narrow up that head, just the way it gets cut out. Gives you a nice profile this way. But the head is too wide. So we'll start in. I haven't actually carved any butternut yet. This is the first time trying that. We'll see how it goes. A lot to take off here. Don't be bashful. Big chunks off of here. We got a long ways to go. I'll just break them right off. Do the same on the other side, trying to keep it symmetrical. kind of a brutal day outside last couple of days. I think we started out today with the wind chill was right at negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit. It's pretty cold. Cold enough that it seems like a lot better idea just to stay inside and carve a piece of wood. And we're just kind of going after narrowing up that head just the way the pattern cuts out on the bandsaw. It ends up with a lot of wood to remove on the side. Probably could have tipped it and taken a little more off with the bandsaw, but it's alright. Not that big a deal. Just kind of round all the edges here. We'll figure out which way it likes to be cut. First impression of this piece of butternut is it's not bad. I think I enjoy carving basswood better, but this isn't bad. I'll start rounding the corners and knife wants to slip out of my hand today. I think just what I'm trying to do as I go along, just keep thinking how, like on the one that we did and the one he's got in the book is just rounding, smoothing, and looking for the proper contours there. Get a little closer right now. You can see it's kind of his head's a little lopsided. We need to take some off of there. A little more of an angle up here. But yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun just to go back to where I started. I mean, that's been a long time ago, and I haven't spent as much time with a knife and a piece of wood as I probably would like to, but life gets in the way. Kind of making some little swooping cuts here, trying not to make the mistake of coming into like a stop cut or a corner cut. We want to end up with these curves nice and round in here, and if you start going in back and forth, you just end up with a V, and then it gets harder to kind of straighten that out, smooth it out. So, trying to keep that in mind as I go. And just looking it over. It's a pretty basic project. Like I said, I think one of the reasons it's a good one to start with is just think about wood grain and how to make those cuts without breaking out big pieces, unless that's what you want to do. But let's remove all these saw marks. Just using my Helvy rough out knife. Smooth that out a little bit. I know a lot of other carving videos and stuff talk about this, but I do this a lot when I'm carving. You get a lot more done, it seems like, and it doesn't tire, get your hands tired. You kind of rock it back and forth across your thumb, gives you that leverage and a little more control too, I think. It just kind of makes you more steady. But very effective way to go about that. Looks like we just gotta look once in a while. That grain really stands out on that butternut. That'll be kind of nice. I don't know haven't decided how I'm gonna finish that yet. Just some oil to start with and see what that looks like. Start rounding the neck, back of the head. On the other one, I kind of went behind the head here. This gouge gets a number 8, just to, like I mentioned before, just to kind of make that more of a curve. See that? Cut gloves, gotta have them. That one went right into my hand. Let's try number 9. Maybe I can get, or not a 9, I'm sorry, it's an 11. Get that in there. A little better. Just to kind of smooth that out a little bit. Not having it. And it's just the tip of the knife then, and just kind of make these little swooping cuts in there. Gotta be careful doing that though. If you try to get in there take too much, you can kind of do some damage to your knife and roll that blade a little bit. Nobody wants that. Get in here, get these saw cuts off, and then we'll I don't know how many for sure, but I know my dad made a lot of these little ducks. Gave them away to grandkids and kids and stuff. It's kind of fun. It doesn't take a long time to make them. Definitely easier to do this out of basswood though. Take a little more out of here. Kind of create that that valley next to the neck. Hear that chattering? That's trying to do a little more rolling than I should probably with that knife. Round off the bottom edges a little bit over down here. Oh, see, there's the lesson in the grain. It's coming this way and wanted to split it off, so you just turn it around. Come the other direction. And then you can control the cut. On this one, flip it around and go from the front to the back. We get a nice smooth cut without splitting it. Saw cuts over here, saw marks. There's some dark grain in there, kind of neat. Trying to be a little careful up here just because I haven't carved, like I said, I haven't carved anything in butternut yet. I'm not sure how it's all going to react to different cuts, so I'm kind of training myself as I go, I guess. I don't remember, might have been on a coffee and carving show or a linker video. I think it was a coffee and carving podcast. They were talking about being able to one of the aspects of carving, I guess, is just having developing the ability to see something and determine what it needs to have done to it to get to where you want to go, and to have the understand what it's supposed to look like. And a lot of that comes from just being observant and like people's faces or anything that you want to carve. Just pay attention to the examples that are all around you. And as you're working on this and you learn the different cuts, things, you just start, you start looking at it like, well, that doesn't look like what I'm going for yet. I'm going to take some off here, take some off there. I mean, learning at least my opinion is, anyway, learning to carve is knowing learning some basic techniques, different cuts and things like that. Like this project teaches you how to handle the different, handling the wood grain. Okay, I actually stopped recording for a while because the furnace turned on out here. Like I said before, it's pretty cold. And I was doing a little carving without you. My intention was to turn the video off and then just wait till the furnace turned off. I can't sit here with a piece of wood in my hands and just not carve on it, so that didn't work out. But I've just been rounding and shaping, and it's kind of hard to see this darker wood on the darker background. Seems like there's always something that needs to be changed when you start recording videos. Like I said, I'm not very experienced at that part of it yet, so probably have to come up with a different background. See a little better. But just kind of keep turning and looking and trying to make it symmetrical. How's it go? That old saying? Just if it doesn't look like a duck, no, that's not it. If it walks like a, no, that's not it either. Oh yeah, you just cut off everything that doesn't look like a duck. That's how it goes. So that's all I'm doing. And making these pivoting cuts. It really helps with control, and it gives you a lot more force when you're trying to work on some of these harder spots here. Coming along. Rounding and shaping and making it symmetrical. I still got some saw marks under here. Get rid of those. I've found that, like, in this area here, it seems like it's a little tougher. Just the curve of it and the close quarters, but if you take little slicing cuts, like, instead of just trying to roll your knife through it, kind of slice through it. Seems to help. The neck is still pretty thick. Don't want it to kind of depends on what you're going to do with it too. You know, if this was something you were going to give to a small kid or something that they're going to drive it around on the floor or play with it, you might want to leave that neck a little thicker. It might even give it to a small child. They might think it needs to fly. Throw it across the room. But I think that's why this kind of a project is good for that. Just to give away. You don't have a whole lot of time invested in it. It was fun to make, and they can have fun with it. I think we'll bring this, define the head just a little bit more, kind of blend in with the neck here still. If you use just the tip of your knife, get in here and make these little grain. There we go. Up this direction. When you get down to the smaller areas like around the beak here, or the bill, because a duck has a bill, don't they? Not a beak. And be pretty careful. That's when you have to kind of stop and think about what's been going on this piece of wood with the grain and what happens when you go different directions. You wouldn't want to start in on the bill and go in the different direction and then have the whole thing split off. I mean, it's be very easy to do. Try to get under here and clean up this. Can tell, like you saw me pause there for a second. I was getting ready to slice some off here, and I could just tell it wasn't the right direction for the grain. It was you can feel your knife just kind of bite in rather than want to kind of slide over the grain. I guess maybe it'll be a way to say it. But if you're keeping that in mind and you pick up on that, you can maybe stop yourself from making a big break there. Especially as you get closer and closer to what you want to end up with. Thinner and thinner cuts. Smaller and smaller adjustments. Shaving off hard edges. Try to thin this neck up a little bit more. Okay. See, I have a little bit more coming off the side of the neck, and it comes out a little bit there, and on this side it kind of is more smooth. I think I want to bring this up and work that into the neck a little bit more there. That's kind of what I was saying earlier about just kind of teaching yourself to pay closer attention to details on things, and you can start seeing little areas that don't look quite right, and think, oh yeah, I need to adjust here and there. And as you get closer, there's thinner shavings, and you can see, like, if you go back and look at the chunks I was cutting off at first, and then right down here you can see all this real fine little pieces. That's how I think it works good anyway. Start taking off big pieces and prying and breaking or whatever, and you get closer and closer, just slow down a little bit, change the angle on your knife so you're not cutting so deep, and do more shaving like that. Those little curled up shavings. There's some saw marks here yet. And for the most part, this shape back here under his tail is fine. So I'm just you can see a real tight. Try to get the camera. There we go. Maybe. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. Smooth it out a little bit around some of that sharp edge that we made from getting the saw marks out. I don't want to take too much out because I kind of like the shape of that. Okay. It looks like I'm going to bring this down here to match the other side a little bit. This, I don't know if it shows up on the camera, it depends on how you turn it. You can really see the saw marks sometimes, and like this whole back half here hasn't been cleaned up yet. So I'm going to do that. Again, just this area I think is pretty well shaped. The sides of the duck on this project, you cut it out with a bandsaw and you're pretty much there. You're just going to do a little rounding and cleaning up. Most of the work ends up being up here on the sides of the head, which is good practice to try to get a nice shape to the head and have it come into the neck nice. There was another carving book that I had. I don't know if I still have it somewhere or not, but there was some examples in there of most of it was different types of wildlife. I think there was a fox that I had carved one time where it was just kind of a, I don't know if you'd say it's stylized. It wasn't realistic at all. It just a smooth shape of a fox. The front and the back legs were still joined together, but kind of the idea was just get it so where you can tell it's a fox, and then sanded that one real smooth and put a nice stain on it, and ended up real nice. I'm thinking on this duck, there isn't much for detail in here, and I know there's always people that say you should never sand a wood carving, but I get that because I like the little facets and stuff that the knife marks make, and there's some things where I think that's real important. Now, if you watch the slideshow I put on there, there's a few of the things I did there. It was very clear that you can see all the facets and everything, and that's the look I was going for. But I also think that it's okay, and there's a time and a place for sanding something, and these little ducks, to me anyway, it's one of those things where I just think, like I said, there isn't much detail on them anyway, and it's something that people like to just pick up and hold, and you get something like this one. This one needs a little more. It's still kind of rough, but you sand that all smooth and get some wax or oil on there, and it's almost like people make comfort birds. I've made a couple. I showed them on that slideshow. It's just you pick something up like that and you just automatically start rubbing on it. It's just a nice smooth feeling thing, and you just looking it over. And, to me, that's what these ducks are. They're good practice. They're a good beginner starting project, and you sand them smooth and put a nice finish on them, so they're kind of a silky feel. And so yeah, I'm not hard set on everything should be sanded or everything should be left with the carving knife marks on it. I think there's a time and place for all that stuff. And it doesn't really matter if it's what you want to do. That's how you should do it. Like this project, I think if you want some practice with grain and shaping and contouring and knife control, do whatever you want with it. Okay. So, looking pretty good. I think we're getting pretty close. This side's got knife marks. The other thing that I don't think looks good is, again, I suppose it depends on what you're doing, but get rid of the hard edges. Learning how the grain works and work on your cutting technique. Even if you've been carving a while, it's just fun to do some of this once in a while. Just go. Well, I think what I'm going to do is probably stop recording for a while and then break out some sandpaper and sand her down smooth, and maybe I'll come back. I don't need to record me sanding a duck. I don't think there's anything real exciting with that, but I think that's where we're at. I'll come back and I'll wrap up the video after we get her sanded. So there it is. It's just a redo of the first thing I've ever carved. Kind of fun. Alright, we'll get this one sanded and get the video finished up and think about what we're going to do next. Perfect timing. Got the furnace winding down. So I could probably sand this some more, but I think I'm going to not do that. I think I'm going to just leave it like it is. Put a little oil on it and see what happens. There we have it. We have the mini duck decoy. One of the first things I ever carved. So I think what I'll do, I'll just put a little oil on it. Now this oil, I mentioned it in a previous video. It's what Doug Linker was using, and bought some. In my Santa video, I mentioned that I really liked it, but it was pretty expensive. That's because the first bottle I bought it off of Amazon, and their current price for this is a 250 milliliter or 8 ounce bottle. Their current price for that is $38. I think that's quite a bit. We're able to find another place. It's called Jamestown Distributing. They sell it online, and it was just a little bit over $9 a bottle with free shipping. So I bought some more of it there, and to me that's a much better deal. So just look around, I guess, and be able to find it. See what happens here when we put this oil on there. That's pretty cool. The butternut is really neat wood. This kind of comes to life, doesn't it? I'm just going to make sure I coat it all really good. And I think that's the only finish I'm going to put on this. We'll see what it looks like when it soaks in. Maybe I'll do a couple coats. Really nice grain. There you go. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. I approve. Alright. We'll see what we can come up with next. Maybe we'll make maybe it'll be a little snowman or something. I don't know. Later.